politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the feed. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. Here we are.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, good morning.
wait
Here
on
we
my
are
mic.
back with our new microphones again. We're still getting used to that. It's April 21st. Tomorrow is Earth Day, just for those of you who did not know that.
Today is actually National Bulldog Day.
Today's
I don't know,
National
I heard that on the
Bulldog Day,
radio.
and yesterday was 420. When I don't know if everyone had their traditional 420. I know Marty did, but
Yeah.
she's not talking about that.
Of course I did.
Anyway, but today we're going to be talking about Green Up Day and some other things, and because Earth Day is coming. But first, Marty has some announcements.
Yeah, I do. So on Monday, May 3rd, Parks Place is officially reopening their doors. They've been closed for COVID, and it's made it, they've had to pivot and change and figure out how to still serve people, but they've managed to do it. But starting May 3rd, they're going back to full operations. Doors are open. Masks are required still, so make sure if you're going to visit Parks Place, you have your mask on and you practice social distancing. Exciting news over the weekend, Rockingham Roasters, after the long wait for Rockingham Roasters to open their doors, they opened their doors on Sunday. So they're open 3 days a week. They're open Sunday from 10 to 4, Thursday and Friday from 6:30 until 2. As they get in the groove, their goal is to be open 6 days a week, but they're starting with 3. They're working on, I think they've got some staff they're training, and also probably just getting the lay of the land.
Sure, I imagine.
And State of Vermont has now opened the vaccines for all Vermonters 16 and up. So if you haven't gotten your vaccine, you're waiting for your age, don't have to anymore because it's all open for 16 and up.
That's great, and I hear the supply now is meeting the demand, so that the wait times are really compressing.
Oh,
fast.
good.
Yeah, so that's really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But first, our first guest is coming to us today from Washington, D.C. It's Amy Howlett, and she's going to tell us about Vermont Green Up Day, because that's what you talk about when you're in Washington. How you doing, Amy?
Well, I feel kind of sorry for Washington because they don't have Green Up Day, and it's a Vermont thing. Thank you so much for letting me commute in this way. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to show everybody the major Green Up symbol, which you all know so well. The Green Up bags are, in my mind, iconic. They remind me that the first weekend in May every year, except for last year for COVID, we all go out and collect litter on the sides of Vermont roads. And that turns out to be a little bit tricky, but it's also a joyous welcome to spring. So in our area, Guy Payne and I are the two people who oversee Green Up Day. And the bags are everywhere we could think of that might be convenient and helpful for people. So starting in Rockingham, if you want a green bag, if you have a student at Central Elementary School, or if you have a student not in Rockingham at Saxons River Elementary School, they're going to bring a green bag home. And they'll also bring some general recommendations, which I'm going to go over here. We also have Green Up bags at Leasi's Market. We have them at J&H Hardware. And this year, for the first time in Bellows Falls, the Community Bike Project said, hey, can we hand out Green Up bags on Saturday? And you can imagine how happy we were about that. In Saxons River, they're also available at the Saxons River Market. So I think I've named every place except for sort of a mobile place. We'll be talking to Deb Witkus later in the program, and the group that's associated in my mind with Deb and with Greater Falls Connections is Friends for Change. A bunch of very eager and helpful teenagers who said, hey, give us a couple of bags. We'll make sure that there are teens doing Green Up as well. So that's happening this year.
That's
This
great.
is a shot of the website, Green Up Vermont, with Vermont spelled out, .org. There are lots of helpful pieces of advice there. So for example, I always feel like you really should think before you go out greening up about what you're going to wear. I love a pair of waterproof boots because, you know, when you go down on the edge of those dirt roads, there's a lot of water and gunk down there. I love to have gloves on so that if I pick up disgusting things, they don't get over my hands. I can put them in a green bag instead. This year, of course, you're going to want to think about social distancing and wearing a mask. And you're also going to want to, depending on what the weather is, if it's snowing, dress warm. If it's really sunny out, dress warm, dress much lighter. Don't forget your sunscreen, and don't forget, I hate to have to say it, but ticks. So here's a picture of 2 green uppers last year. This is actually the Narrows, and they had, as you might expect, a very productive day on that dirt road. Going down over the banks, finding beer cans and scraps of paper and all kinds of stuff that went in their green up bags. This is Guy Payne. So on Saturday morning, Guy stands in front of the post office in Saxons River, which is a pretty busy day for Saxons River post office audience. And he waves garbage bags, the green up bags, and hands them out to anybody who goes by. So that's another last minute place you can get them. I'm going to mention one uncomfortable thing, for me at least, and that is finding medical stuff on the side of the road. So you might well come along and find some sharps. That, of course, is a time for parents to step forward, for adults. So if you have a rigid soda bottle or a rigid gallon milk jug, and you can put the sharps in that and put the top on, put duct tape over it when you're done with green up, and mark it, do not recycle. That you don't want going in with a regular stream. I should tell you a little bit about picking up, and I'm not giving anybody a chance to interrupt. Do you want to interrupt, Mike? Or
No, you're doing great. Keep going.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So pickup happens on Monday. Come again?
No.
Nope.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Okay. Maybe I got a little bit of an echo. So pickup happens Monday, May 3rd. The highway department for the town of Rockingham goes around and actually looks on the dirt roads, on the regular roads, and any place there's a green bag, they stop and stick it in. There are also places at any of the town garages. So on Blake Street, up on Route 103, and in Saxons River at the fire department, you'll see a big highway department truck parked ahead of time. And that's a good place to bring your green up materials, your bags, or if you find something big and awkward, I don't know, folding chair that's been beat up and left on the side of the road, that stuff that you feel is regularly transportable. You can either leave a green up bag next to it on the dirt road, or you can transport it to one of these places and they'll load it into the trucks on Monday morning. So I've actually heard from a couple of people already, hey, are our green up bags out there? Can we start picking up ahead of time? Yes, you can. The trucks won't come around until Monday, May 3rd. But it at least gives you the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you know ahead of time that Saturday's going to be an awful day, cold, rainy, wet, wait, do it on Sunday and know that the trucks will be there bright and early on Monday to grab things. People always ask me about tires. I am not super happy about tires being part of Green Up Day, but on the other hand, I'm also not super happy about them on the side of the road. So yes, if you find tires, you can bring them in. But of course, it's much better if people take their tires to a tire warehouse or a place like that and pay to have them recycled into something sensible and useful. I do really like Green Up as a welcome to spring. So I'm used to looking to see if the trillium is out or those ferns with the little tightly whorled tops. It just seems like it's the time of year that you want to be out. And I should remind everybody, this has been around for 51 years now. So it's a Dean Davis project from 1970. And we can celebrate that we're still all about keeping Vermont beautiful. What have I left out, guys? What would you like to know more about?
I
Yeah.
think you've hit everything. Is it something new that they're having the trucks parked in stationary locations? Is that something new? No?
Nope, nope. It's always the way it's been, and it gives us a really easy way to report. So Andy Howarth this year will send us a tonnage figure. Actually, we don't count green bags in Bellows Falls. I mean, I know how many we put out, but we count how many tons of garbage are picked up. And don't ask me, I don't remember what we had last year. I should, I'm sure. But yeah, but it's always been at those places, and it does. There's always a stash of things. I like to go out and at least look at the one in my neighborhood early in the morning on Monday just to see what came in, and it's amazing to me how much people have collected.
Yes. And so just to, I guess to reiterate, you can get bags early though. Can you get bags right now?
Yes,
Like,
you can.
yeah. So if you were to hit any of those sites like J&H Hardware or some place like that, they would actually have the bags and
Yep.
you would be able to get them. And if people missed all of the places, there's actually an article that Amy did in the Shopper this week or in the Vermont Journal, whichever iteration of that paper you get. And it tells you all this information and gives you the website and who's picking up and where you can get bags. So she really has it covered. Anything else?
I will say Guy Payne and I inherited this from Ed Denany, and we've pretty much kept everything he taught us. I mean, he did a wonderful job of outlining how it should be done, and we took careful notes and made a big spreadsheet so we could make sure we did things as well as he had done for many years. So
Yeah.
it's not just the people who do it now, it's the institutional memory that really keeps us going too.
You're standing on wide shoulders.
We are.
Yes.
I should, in the tradition of good stewardship, I should also mention that there are a lot of partners. And when you get your green up bag, you'll notice all of the black writing on it. So Cabot Cheese is a sponsor, Subaru, Casella, the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources, the Community College System of Vermont. There are many, many sponsors that go into the logistical stuff that gets the bags to Rockingham and every other place. Your screen is reminding me that if you know there's a spot on your road that really needs picking up, maybe it's a new spot, maybe it's an old spot, gpayne, G-P-A-Y-N-E @gmail.com or amy.howlett41 @gmail.com. We keep track of those, and we have teams who are interested. You can also leave a message at 869-2600. And we'll keep track of those and make sure we send people to those spots. I think about those kind of pull-off places where there's a nice view and people sit and drink beer. We're not always on top of those, so it's good to be reminded if you know there's a place like that.
All right.
It's also a great day to get an ice cream cone, typically.
So and Ray, Dairy Joy's open.
Yes.
Dairy Joy's open, yeah.
It is.
Saxon's River Village Market is where we go in my neck of the woods, but you can also go a little further and get a maple creamy. Just a good time of year to be out and be celebrating.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Amy, and thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in Washington and say hi to your grandkids for us and have a good time. Thanks for being on. You're so great and a fantastic guest. And we're going to move on now because as we talked a little bit about Friends for Change, now we're going to go with
we're with Deb Witkus, and Deb's going to talk to us about an event coming up. It's this Saturday, correct, Deb?
Yes, you
Hi, Deb.
are correct. This coming Saturday, we're going to be hosting an event called Bike to the Box. This Saturday is part of National Take Back Day, which is hosted throughout the country, and the whole goal is to get unused prescriptions, pills, and patches out of our homes, because that's the number one place where folks have access where they may actually be likely to misuse or abuse those prescriptions. So getting them to the drop box at the Bellows Falls Police Department. And Heather Warriors kind of came up with this idea, reflecting back on some childhood memories that she had, where the Bellows Falls Police Department used to use their speed radar gun to clock how fast kids were going on their bikes. And she had such great memories of that. We thought, hey, let's just make that part of the event. So we proposed this idea to Chief Bemis, and he loved the idea. And of course, this is also a great opportunity for folks to come on down, meet and greet Officer Thaddeus Buckley, who will be showing up and using his radar clock to time folks. And he's the new community police liaison. So you can come on down and get to know him. The other thing that we're going to have there is Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Vermont. They're coming as well. They have received some new funding to support bigs and littles getting signed up in our community. And I know as someone who was a big sister, and I still am a big sister, even though my little aged out of the program, those relationships are transformative, and they can really make a big difference for youth in our community. So they'll be there if you're interested in, exploring like what it might look like for you to sign up as a big, or perhaps sign up your kid to have a big, sign them up as a little. They will be there, and we're excited about that. Also, Friends for Change will be there. They're going to be creating an art project with chalk, so we can send some positive messages out to the community. And we'll have for parents, grandparents, community members, we'll have some talking tips. How do you start the conversation around, preventing prescription drug misuse and abuse? So we'll be able to hand those out and have some rich conversation. So we're really looking forward to that. And Marnie and Mike, I also just want to thank you for inviting us on just to talk about, the Bike to the Box event. That's 12 to 2 this coming Saturday. And we will have permission forms with release from liability and for parents to sign. And also, I just have to say the kids are really excited. The BF Bike Project folks will be there supporting the event. And we're excited. And of course, we will be following all the CDC social guidelines as well.
So this is really the first time since COVID that you've been able to have any kind of this event, which was a hallmark of what you guys did at Greater Falls Connections, was the events that connected lots of entities together in the public eye, people could come to. So I would hope that you would get a good turnout, and I would imagine that everyone involved is very excited about finally getting to do something in person.
Yes, we're excited. And it's okay if it's a, medium turnout. We are going to have to follow the CDC guidelines, and we'll set up, bubbles and lines for people to be able to maintain within the distance and be masked. But yeah, we're really excited. And it's just wonderful. Underneath the leadership of Chief Bemis, the folks he's bringing in, the collaborations and partnerships that he has developed in a short period of time, we're excited about. And having Officer Buckley back in the community is incredibly exciting. And we're really looking forward to partnering with them and getting to know all our kids and families. And this is all about the partnerships and collaborations, which we really love. And I know with Friends for Change, they're going to be running a full summer program. We already are meeting every day in person for the past 2 weeks after school. And that has all been just really a magical reunification, and very healing for us all to be able to be together again. And thanks to Bonnie at the Bellows Falls Bike Project, we've been on our bikes a lot and fixing bikes and leading tours with Bonnie. And it's just, we're so lucky to be here. It's a great community.
Certainly is. Just going back to the I guess what I would describe as the main purpose of the event is to have people bring in prescription drugs. How, like, for a person who is thinking about doing that, what sort of prescription drugs, or is it just prescription drugs, or is it other things? And then what will they do once they get there? How is it going to be something they have to get out of their car, or can they just sort of drop it off, or just one of those sorts of questions for people who are thinking about doing that?
Okay, thank you. Those are great questions. Yeah, the
Sorry.
prescription drug drop box is located in the foyer of the police department, and individuals can go in one at a time and put their prescription drugs. So we'll have a marker there so they can erase any, cover up any personal
Yeah,
details.
that's a good point.
So all types of pills can go into the box, and patches. And in addition to that, the Bells Falls Police Department also has a sharps box on the wall. So if you have any unused needles that you're hoping to, get rid of, you could bring in your sharps as well.
That's good. That's really good information. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So we're just under 4 minutes.
So, okay, so we're a little under 4 minutes. I would hope that let's see, I would ask, is there anything that we haven't covered yet? And then if you wanted to go over some phone numbers and website information, just so that people know. And again,
Sure.
say it's from 12 to 2 on Saturday. But I just said that. So.
Yes. Okay, yes. So if we are on Facebook, look for Greater Falls Connections, and like us, send us messages. We just love hearing from the community. All our events are posted on our Facebook account. The other thing is you can email myself or Laura, our director, Laura Scherbaum. It's deb@greaterfallsconnections.org or laura@greaterfallsconnections.org. Oh, you got the visual right there for the event. And we both have Google phones, so we're available, even though we're still partially remote. Both Laura and I are going into the office part-time right now, half a day each. And so the Google phone is 802-365-1324.
Okay.
And visit us on our website, which is www.greaterfallsconnections.org.
Awesome. So I think it's going to be a great event, very useful event, and it sounds like you guys have collaborated with everyone you possibly can to make it as much fun as you possibly can, which is kind of what you guys do.
Yes.
Okay.
Make connections.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
thank you, Deb, for coming on. I think that's it for the feed this week. And unless you have anything else, Marty?
No, I think that's it. I think just make sure that, if you have prescription drugs, even if you don't have kids in your home, get them out of your house.
Yeah.
Bring them in. This is a great opportunity to get rid of them and to have them disposed of safely, as opposed to putting them down your sink and then they get into
Whatever.
whatever.
The
Get into
the
the
water
water
systems.
system
I mean, it's
and-
very green to dispose of your pills. We know there's a problem of how much of our medications actually wind up in our water systems.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a really good connection there.
Yeah, here's a definite opportunity to have that not happen.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's it for this week. We'll see you next week on the feed. We're going to have some local artists in.
Yes.
That should be a fun event.
This will be very fun.
And from Mike and Marty, that's it. And we'll see you
you.
next week. All
Bye,
right.
community.
Bye.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty